All right. Welcome to Garden of the Spirit, class studying apples from the orchard for the second time beginning after Pesach 2014. This class meets in Longmeadow, Massachusetts, the center of the universe, and is held in memory of Malka Ruth Bas, Moshe Margaret Vogel, blessed memory. Apples from the Orchard contains selections of teachings of Kabbalah from the Arizal, Rabbi Yisrael Luria, based on the weekly Torah portion, superbly translated and explained by Rabbi Moshe Wisniewski. Okay, we are at page 913. Our YouTube is on. Today we have a 4-page chapter, some really interesting stuff. And the gematrias aren't too hard. I can't even think of where to go.
Hunters are never hard. They're sometimes just interesting as to how they get to the results.
What, these?
No, I said normally
The
gematrias,
gematrias? No, whatever.
it's just interesting how they get there.
Well, we do have that today.
Yeah.
We do have that. But it's but it's not that hard to follow. Okay. Page 913. One of the most popular mitzvahs in the Torah is to give tzedakah. The Torah doesn't just say give tzedakah or help the poor people. Instead, the Torah says, if there shall be a destitute person among you, of one of your brothers in any of your cities, in your land that Hashem your God gives you, you shall not harden your heart, nor shall you close your hand against your destitute brother. Rather, you shall open your hand to him, and so on. The Arizal will make some points about tzedakah in general, but also explain some specific words in these verses. Okay, 913. Alan, please begin.
Right, 2, spiritual and selfless. When there will be a poor person amongst you, do not tighten your heart and do not close up your hand in front of your poor brother. Rather, open your hand to him. This is the commandment to give tzedakah. Rabbi Chaim Vital, who recorded the teachings of the Arizal, tells us.
Okay, my turn. 2, the author Rabbi Chaim Vital notes that the Arizal himself did not wear fancy clothes or eat a lot. He was not stingy regarding his wife's but he was not stingy regarding his wife's spending. So when she needed something, I guess he gave her the money.
I am not Walter Cronkite, and no matter how much
he gave tzedakah with an open hand and with joy and with a good heart. Sometimes he did not even check to see that he had money left for himself. Keep in mind that everything in those days, everything was cash. There were no checks, no credit cards, no overdraft at the bank. Okay, how many times do you write a check and rely on the overdraft at the bank? You know that they're going to cover it for you. You get $1,000, $2,000 overdraft that the bank will cover. Obviously, no Zelle and Cash App. Okay, go ahead, Alan.
As for philanthropy and generosity, I observed that my master was not particular that his own clothes be terribly fancy, that he only ate a very little, and that regarding his wife's expenses, he would dispense funds according to her wish. In contrast, my master would give charity tzedakah with great joy and good-heartedness, open-handedly, and sometimes he would not even look to see if there would be any money left for himself or not.
Okay, 3. The Arizal taught that every mitzvah is associated with one of the 22 letters of the Aliphes. When a person does a mitzvah, that letter shines on his forehead as long as he performs the mitzvah. it then becomes absorbed within him. When he moves on to another mitzvah, the letter on his forehead is replaced with another letter. An exception to this is tzedakah. After the mitzvah, it does not leave the person's forehead the entire week. The pasuk in Tehillim says, "V'tzidkaso amedes la'ad," his righteousness endures forever, meaning the mark of tzedakah remains. As will be pointed out, the word for righteousness and charity is the same, tzedek and tzedakah. Continue, Alan.
My master said that every commandment is associated with one of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, and that when someone performs a commandment, this letter associated with that commandment shines on his forehead, replacing the letter shining on his forehead from the previous commandment he performed. The letter remains on his forehead only so as long as he is performing the commandment with which it is associated. Afterwards, it is absorbed within him. But if he performs the commandment of charity, the letter associated with it does not disappear as fast as the letters associated with other commandments, but rather continues to shine on his forehead the whole week. This is the mystical meaning of the verse, his righteousness, tzedakah, endures forever.
All right. 3, 4.
4.
When buying items for a mitzvah, the Arizal would not haggle over the price. It's very likely, it's very likely
That it was
standard practice to haggle when shopping at that time in that part of the world. It was standard. But the Arizal would give the merchants the price they asked for when shopping for a mitzvah. Sometimes he would even hand them his wallet and tell them to take what they want. In the Zohar, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai likewise says not to haggle when purchasing items for a mitzvah. Jim, would you like to continue? Page 914.
So, when buying things that are used for performing the Torah's commandments,
Where are you?
no
regarding buying,
914 at the top.
914.
Regarding.
that's what I said.
Okay, sorry.
Regarding buying things that are used for performing the Torah's commandments, such as a lulav and esrog, I saw that my master would give the merchants all they asked for the first time they named a price, and did not try to bargain with them. Sometimes he placed his wallet before them and told them to take what they want. He told me that one should not bargain over the prices one pays to do a mitzvah. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says the same thing in the Zohar.
All right, 5. A pasuk in Mishlei says, Yesh mifazer v'nosaf od. There's a person who scatters and more is added. This refers to someone who gives tzedakah generously. He scatters, he distributes, and then Hashem rewards him with more and in return. And I should say that a lot of these things you probably notice after all these years that I sometimes translate differently than how it's translated in the book. We can understand this in the context of Kabbalah. In the relationship between Zeir Anpin, the male spheros, and Nukva, the feminine sphera. As we said, the word for righteous is tzedek. Charity is tzedakah. Tzedek with an additional letter, hey. The last sphera of Zeir Anpin, Yesod, is the interface between male and female. In the human body, it corresponds to the organ where the bris milah is performed. Someone who follows a chaste lifestyle is considered righteous and is therefore labeled a tzaddik. And by chaste, I don't mean celibate. It just means that the person is happily married, doesn't do anything immoral. The letter Hey that changes tzedek to tzedakah represents the feminine component and the final Hey of Havaya, which stands for Nukva. Charity and marital relationships are similar in that something is given from one person to another. So this is the idea of the male-female relationship, or marital relationship between Zeir Anpin and Nukva, and the relationship between what we call the rich man and the poor man, that he gives tzedakah, and we have tzedek, and then tzedakah with the additional hay. Okay, Jim, continue.
We will now explain the mystical meaning of the verse. There is one who gives generously, yet ends up with more, which our sages apply to the mitzvah of charity. Indeed, we will also relate this verse to the same subject, for Yesod is called the righteous one, tzaddik, inasmuch as it gives charity, tzedakah, to Nukva, who is a priori termed righteous, tzedek, but thereby becomes tzedakah, charity. The word for charity, tzedakah, is composed of the word for righteousness, tzedek, tzaddik, dalet, kuf, plus the additional hey. Since the hey at the end of the word is a sign of the feminine gender, tzedakah may be considered the feminine form of tzedek. Thus, Yesod transforms Nukva into a female.
Okay. Now, we've talked in the past that the world exists by a divine flow of energy that is pumped downward by interaction between Zeir Anpin and Nukva. We cause this interaction to take place when we do mitzvahs. We can call this interaction tzedakah because Zeir Anpin transmits divine light to Nukva. The pasuk in Mishlei that we said, it was here at 5. Yesh mifazer v'nosafod. There's a person who scatters and more is added. So this pasuk in Mishlei uses an unusual word for giving tzedakah, mifazer, which means to scatter, which implies to give the tzedakah indiscriminately, spreading generosity over a wide area. This actually describes the Kabbalistic result of tzedakah. The Sephira of Yesod breaks the states of Chesed into crumbs and then scatters them into Nukva. The Arizal appears to say that tzedakah not only mimics the interaction between Zeir Anpin and Nukva, but it causes it as well. Giving tzedakah causes Zeir Anpin to interact with Nukva and to bring down divine energy, divine light, divine beneficence into the world. Okay, Gershon, go ahead.
You hear me?
I'm sorry, Jim. Jim, continue. Now,
the verse speaks of the tzaddik, Yesod, giving generously. The literal meaning of the word mefazir is spreading, implying that it crumbles the supernal states of chesed into small crumbs which scatter from the pulverizing blows. This is in order to give these crumbs to Nukva, and the crumbs spread throughout Nukva, similar to how the coins of tzedakah a person distributes spread salvation throughout the world.
thank you. And 7, the pasuk said that someone who scatters will have more returned. In terms of spheres, Zeir Anpin does not lose divine energy by giving it to Nukva. When states of Chesed are transmitted by Yesod to Nukva, it causes more Chesed to be produced in a much greater measure.
Mm-hmm. You should not think that these states of Chesed are diminished by passing through Zeir Anpin, nor they lack anything by being given to Tzedek, that is to Nukva. On the contrary, The result of this process is not a lack, but ends with more. For these pulverizing blows magnify all the states of Chesed, and their light increases infinitely. Zeir Anpin grows through this process, as we've explained elsewhere. This is the meaning of the phrase, yet ends with more. Zeir Anpin must process its abstract experience of Chesed, breaking it down and concentrating it into terms and contexts that are meaningful to the objective-oriented parts of Nukva in order for the latter to assimilate it. Lest one think that Zeir Anpin suffers from its marriage to Nukva, for which it must trouble itself to conceptualize its inherent abstractness, which would seem to be a regrettable descent, we are told here that in fact it in fact matures, and it develops from this process. The descent into reality rebounds as a greater ability to achieve abstraction.
Okay. As we've seen, Yosef, who exercised self-control when pursued by Mrs. Potiphar, was the personification of Yesod, purity in matters of male-female relationships. Yosef means to add. The name, we've never talked about this. His name means to add. And this is the same word used in the pasuk that says a person gets more when giving tzedakah. Or Zeir Anpin gets more when it gives to Nukva. Okay, Gershon, page 915, it could be.
It could be that this is why Yesod is called Joseph. Joseph is associated with Yesod by virtue of his sexual purity. Here we know that the word Joseph, Yosef, means he will add, alluding to the increase. Joseph, that means the holy coupling with Nukba, causes in Zeir Anpin.
Okay, and just as Zeir Anpin increases in divine light and chesed, the more it gives to Nukva, a person who gives tzedakah is not short or will not be short money. On the contrary, he ends up with more than before.
So it will be with someone who gives charity. He will not suffer financially from this, but on the contrary, he will become wealthier and possess more than he did beforehand.
Okay. The next part is from the same book. The first half was from Talmei HaMitzvos. This one also is from Talmei HaMitzvos. Oh, there's another side though. Sefer Lekutim.
This is Lekutim. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Number 10. The smallest coin in rabbinic literature is a pruta. Anything worth less than a pruta, for example, possibly a raisin or a peanut, is considered worthless. Sometimes we use this word as a generic term for money. As a point of reference, the shekel of the Torah was a silver coin equal to the weight of 320 barley corns. During the second Beis Hamikdash, the shekel was increased 20% to 384 barley corns. A pruta was a silver coin equal in weight to half a barley corn. 1/640th of the original shekel and 1/768 of the Talmudic shekel. Again, the pruta was half of a barley corn, or the weight of half a barley corn in silver. If you put a barley corn on a scale and you put silver on the other side, so the amount of silver where they would equal out would be 2 pruta. When a person gives tzedakah, so we're going to talk about the word pruta. When a person gives tzedakah, he should have in mind that the word pruta is made of 2 groups of letters. We have Pei Resh Tes and Vav He. The first group, Peresh test, has a value, gematria, of 289, which is only one off of 288, so they're the same. We have a kollel, everyone's happy. 288 is the number of shards that resulted when the realm of Tohu crashed. That's taken from the Torah, where the Torah says that the world was desolate and waste. And it says that the Spirit of God hovered over the waters. The word for hover can be mirachefes, can be divided into two: resh peches, 288, and mem taf, dead. And that shows that that light went to the other side. The 288 sparks or shards. These 288 shards are the source of all strict judgment. These sparks or judgment exist in the final Havavaya, which represents Nukva. Okay, Gershon, continue. Middle of 915.
The mystical meaning of charity is as follows. When you give a coin, consider the word for coin, peruta, to be made up to two-letter groups, Pei, Resh, Tet, and Bab, He. The origin of the strict judgment is from the 288 sparks of Tohu that fell into the lower worlds when the vessels of Tohu shattered. When to this number, the kollel is added, we have the numerical value of Pei, Resh, Tet. The word we are translating here as coin is peruta, which is actually a coin of a specific value. That means the minimal value that is considered money in Jewish law. If one gives less than this amount, it is not considered as he gave anything. He has not fulfilled the commandment to give charity, and he has not accomplished any of the mystical unions described here. The value of the peruta is that of 25 milligrams of pure silver. The value of this in present-day money fluctuates according to the value of the currency. The word peruta is spelled Pei, Resh, Bab, Tet, He. But this may be split into Pei, Resh, Tet, and Bab, He. The numerical value of Pei, Resh, Tet is 80 plus 200 plus 9, 289. Evil, suffering, and all the varieties of occultation of the divine presence result cosmologically from the collapse of the world of Tohu, in which the sparks of holiness of this world became embedded in the gross materiality, relative or actual, of the subsequently created worlds. The general number of these sparks is 288, as we have explained previously.
Give me a minute, please. Come on. Do you guys see picture of coins?
Yeah.
Okay. Value of a peruta and how to calculate. This is one person's work. The peruta was the smallest form of currency in the times of the Mishnah of the Talmud. It was a copper coin. I wrote it was silver. I think it was silver plus some copper. Its silver worth is the weight of half a barley. I got that right, which is about 0.025 grams. Thus, the worth we always or commonly we measure silver by ounces. This is only a gram. Thus, the worth of a peruta is 0.025 of 1 gram of silver, or 1/40th of a gram. In accordance to the current price of silver, which would be February 28th, 2024, 72 cents per gram. The worth of a peruta is 1/40th of that, 1.8 cents. Or I guess in Israel, it's 7 agorot. It is critical for you to periodically verify anew as to the worth of silver in order to know the current price of a pruta. Anyone know what silver is doing? I think it's up 30% since the beginning of the year. Some Rabbanim of today hold that you should also include the amount of sales tax levied on purchasing this amount of silver in the country in your country. Israel, there's a VAT tax, VAT, 17%. In the US, that varies by state. Some posts can question that perhaps a pruta must contain an amount that one can use to purchase a substantial item where you live, such as many fruits, and thus the above mentioned minuscule amount no longer accurate for today's times. Practically, there is room for areas on halacha. Less than a pruta is not considered money. Number one, tzedakah. If you want to give tzedakah every day before davening, you need to give at least a pruta, or before you light candles for Shabbos. Minimum value to give to a poor person on Purim to fulfill the mitzvah. If you do Meiser Sheni in Israel, Kiddushin, person marries a woman, the item has to be worth at least a pruta. Today, yes, we give a ring, or modem mixas. Okay, that's 3. In January 2017, it was 54 cents per gram. Over the past 30 years, the price of a gram of silver has fluctuated from ounces, 3.75 per ounce, $3.75 per ounce. That's 13 cents per gram.
It's right now is $1.24 per gram.
1.24 what?
1.24, $1.24.
Per gram.
Per gram. So 1.24 times 0.025, 31 cents. Wow.
31.
No, I'm sorry. 3.1 cents. So 3 cents of a dollar.
3.1 cents? That much. The pruta would be worth 0.325 of a cent. Oh, when silver was $3.75, and then there was a time it hit 47 cents, and that would be 4.1 cents for a per gram. For full chart, okay.
So it's 3.1 now. 3.1 cents.
And the other stuff. How much is a pruta worth according to this opinion? That has to be used by something substantial. That this is the amount of money a country needs to purchase 20 grams of bread. In today's time, this equals approximately 15 agurot. I have no idea what 20 grams means.
Less than an ounce. 2/3
Okay.
of an ounce. Give and take.
Okay. So, just some thoughts. So, a pruta is still very low. Whatever. Today, maybe we said 3 cents. It would seem like. Just for context. For reference. Okay. A pruta, we did this one. When a person gives tzedakah, he should have in mind that the word pruta is made of 2 groups of letters. We did that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 11. The second group of letters is vav hey, which are also the last 2 letters of Avaya. They represent Zeir Anpin and Nukva. When vav and hey join, as we described in number 6, the judgments in Nukva are sweetened. When we give tzedakah, which is made up of coins called pruta, we cause peret, the 288, and vav hey, we cause vav to join hey, and the judgments of the 288 shards are sweetened. Abigail, get this down in your notes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. 916, Abigail.
Page?
Yeah, Gershon, you finished 915, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Top,
Yeah,
the top,
Abigail,
the top.
916 at the top.
These sparks are existentially esconded within the final hay of the name Havaya. The final hay, Malchus, is the sephira of any world that descends into the next lower world in order to bring it into being and sustain it. It thus embodies the principle of descent.
Continue.
When we join the final hay with the vav, the individual aspects of the judgments are sweetened. This occurs through giving charity. Joining the vav and the hay ensures that the hay, the means of God's and our expression, is derived by the vav, the rectified emotions, rather than being a vehicle for the forces of evil. The letter group Pei Resh Tet spells the word for individual aspect, parat.
Yeah, today it means detail,
Detail.
like pruta. The gematria of tzedakah, oh, that's why. In Hebrew, when you say you want to make change, that's the word you use for getting change or making change. The gematria of tzedakah is 90 plus 4 plus 5 equals 199. This is the same as Elokim plus Adni
Mhm.
plus Ma plus 4. We'll explain what that is, 199. Didn't even need a kolel. 40, so Elokim is 86. Adni is 65. 45 is the value of expanded spelling of Havaya when Hey is expanded with an Aleph. So we have Yud, and then Hey Aleph, Vav Aleph Vav, and Hey Aleph. 20 plus 6 plus 13 plus 6 is 45. 12 and 13 is 25 plus 20, 45. 45 is the expanded spelling of Havaya that corresponds to Ze'er Anpin. The last number 4 is for the 4 letters of Havaya. Okay, we threw that in there. Both names, Elokim and Adni, are names associated with judgment. When a person gives tzedakah, Havaya expanded to 45 sweetens the judgments of Elokim and Adni. And he adds that the Hebrew for 45 is memhe, which as a word is ma, what? And it implies bittul, diminishment of self. As Moshe rhetorically responded to the people, it shouldn't have said asked. He said, Va'anachnu ma ki salinu aleinu. And we are what that you complain to us? In other words, who are we? We're nothing. Why do you complain? You shouldn't complain to us. And that is, we see that as an extreme statement of humility by Moshe. Okay, Avigail, please continue.
The numerical value of the word tzedakah plus the kolel is the same as the combined numerical values of the names Elokim, Adnai, and Adni, and the number 45 and 4 for the 4 letters of the name Havaya. Tzedakah, Tzadik, Dalit, Kuf, Hey equals 90 plus 4 plus 100 plus 5 equals 199. Elokim, Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yud, Mem. 1 plus 30 plus 5 plus 10 plus 40 equals 86. Adni, Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud equals 1 plus 4 plus 50 plus 10 equals 65. 86 plus 65 plus 45 plus 4 equals 200.
Continue.
The meaning of this is that the names Elokim and Adni are which both signify strict judgment, are sweetened by tzedakah performed with the 45 name. Generally, the 45 name, i.e. the name Havaya spelled out such that its numerical value is 45, signifies selflessness, bittul. Thus, we see here the importance of giving tzedakah selflessly.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, 13. Looking back at the Torah's directive to give tzedakah, which we opened with, it says, opening, you shall open your hand to your brother. This is a reference to Yesod that gives to Nukva. And it says, in your land, is a reference to Nukva. Land represents Nukva, the feminine component. We plant in the land, we put seeds in the land, and then the land produces the produce or vegetation, just like a woman nurtures the seed to produce offspring. Okay, go ahead.
We will now explain the mystical meaning of the phrase, "You shall surely open your hand to your brother, your poor, and your destitute of your land." You shall surely open your hand to your brother. This refers to Yesod. In your land refers to Nukva, i.e. the union of both Zeranpin and Nukva together, for through Tzedakah, Tzedek, Yesod, and Tzedakah, Malchus, unite, as is known. As we know, the land is an appellation for Malchus, the lowest Sephira.
Okay. So this is a chapter. I was worried that it wasn't. We didn't do another chapter there for 4 more pages. Good thing I didn't work on it. And hey, good to see everyone. First of all,